Hi everybody, it's Julie. Welcome to Hello Monday. Today I'm going to be making my own patterned paper. I'm going to be working with the brand newly released holiday characters and making a background using the Painted Stripes background set. And this is one of my favorite sets to work with because I love stripes and the different variations of stripes that you can create with this set. So I'm going to take a half of a quarter sheet of Nina Solar White. So when you're doing the math, that's an eighth of a whole sheet of Nina Solar White. And it's 80 pound, and I put a little bit of tape runner there on the back so I can anchor it to some typing paper. Now I've grabbed the 1/2 inch wide painted stripe background and mounted that to a nice long block because I work faster when I'm using an individual block than if I'm trying to do this on a stamp positioning tool. So I've grabbed some Catherine Pooler inks in a color combination that's really fun. I'll have all the colors listed down below. And I don't need to ink up the very first stripe all the way across because I'm only stamping on a portion of that. But I am going to clean off the stamp and dry it thoroughly. I used my stamp chamois and then microfiber towel to clean off my stamp, and then I'm going to ink with the next color. And because this is a lighter color, if I hadn't cleaned off, I would have contaminated my shea butter ink pad, and I hate it when my ink pads get contaminated. And then I'm just going to continue all the way across the surface here, and I'm actually working on type paper because whenever I bleed off the edges of my project and the ink gets off the, outside the edges there, I end up just dragging my hand through it. If I'm working on a nonstick surface or a glass surface, I just make a mess of my project because I drag my hands through it. So I like to work on typing paper. And there I've got my stripes all done. I went all the way across there. And then I'm just going to use this little adhesive eraser to get that tape runner off the back because I only put a little bit just to tack it down there so it wouldn't move on me while I was working. Now I'm going to load it into the Mini Misty, and I'm going to grab a greeting from the Retro Holidays set. That's just, I love this font. I just think it's so fun. It was really a challenge for me to put these together and design them, but I really love how they turned out in the end. And I'm going to prep that piece after I've got the stamp mounted with an anti-static pouch because I'm going to be doing some embossing on the top, and I want to make sure that there's no oil from my fingertips and no residual moisture from the ink. I want to make sure everything is dry on that surface. So I stamped with Versamark, and then I'm going to pour some white embossing powder. This is by Hero Arts. It's a nice bright white, and this happens to be a regular grind. And then I'm going to hold it with my tweezers because you can see there, and it's like I don't like to burn my fingers. So I preheated my heat gun for about 30 seconds, then came in, made sure everything was nicely embossed. And then I like to use those little Swiffer cloths to buff off the excess anti-static powder so that the color shines through true instead of, covered with a film of that powder. So now I'm going to work with the wood grain background. This is the Rustic wood grain background, and I love it because it works so well for like Halloween and Christmas and year round. It's good when you want kind of that fun rustic wood grain look on your projects. And I like to work with it this way. I don't load it onto a platform or a block or anything. I just work with it face up like this and ink it up from this direction, and then I'll lay my folded card down on top of it and then grab some clean typing paper and put that over the top, and I'm anchoring it in place with one hand while I burnish one side, and then I'll switch off to make sure I get everything burnished completely against the inked stamp, and I know I've got a good clean impression. And that's my favorite and easiest way to work with large background stamps like that. That's just gives me the greatest success. So now I'm going to grab more of that white embossing powder, and I'm going to coat the whole thing, and I kind of keep it low there to my coffee filter so it catches all the powder because I don't like it when it gets all over my work surface. And I'm just checking to make sure I got everything coated with embossing powder, and then again preheated my heat gun, and then I'm just going to work my way from the bottom up, and hopefully, I know it's kind of hard to see how it's changing, but I'm just going to go over it, make sure everything is shiny and smooth and melted and not, like gritty or granular. So that's how I know I've got everything nicely embossed. And then when it's cool, it's time to mount everything together. And I put foam tape all over the back of these pieces that are going to get mounted. Sometimes I like to peel away a part of it so that I have something to grip onto. And then once I'm sure I have it where I want it, I can anchor it down and then remove the remainder of those liner pieces. And I already stamped and watercolored and die cut the stocking and the little pine branch from the holiday character set. And I actually didn't even color the stocking because I wanted it to really pop in contrast to that striped background. And I love getting these custom stripes because then I can coordinate with any project I make. And then I just added a little bit of that Tombow mono adhesive and some pom-poms from my stash. And there we go, my own pattern paper. And usually I'm only using small bits of pattern paper on my projects. All the supplies are available at ellenhutson.com and they're listed down below in the description. And thanks for watching.